everybody, welcome back to Northernlion plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. Allow me to curse myself, no matter how bad this run is. I don't know why I took on a speech affectation there. No matter how bad this run is, it can't be as bad as yesterday's. Which we still won, but because, I mean, in the end that run was bad, but it was a lot better than it looked based on a statistical... Anyway, you get the idea. X29A, 9-bit. Whoa, it's like a Super NES, -7. Okay speed, okay damage, poor rate of fire. Okay, above average speed. Still a terrible rate of fire. Damage is already higher than our damage stat ever got on yesterday's run. Now it is a little misleading, because we did, you know, we also got Tech X and Triple Shot and etc., but it just goes to show you, like, you can spin yesterday's run, and it ended up being not altogether that bad. Ooh, so good. By the time we got to the end. But my lord, in advance of that, it was horrendous. Just awful. So today's is already, I wouldn't say better. Like, I'm much happier with the way that yesterday's run ended than I am with the way that this run is starting. But we got a long way to go before we reach, you know, where the run ends. Hopefully. We do have a little low, a little less HP than we'd like would be a good way to phrase that. Thank you, sir. I will be picking this up then. Might as well try this on for size. And you know what? So Dad's key is fine. It's actually probably better than good. However, wow, that's like the worst High Priestess you could ever expect against a Larry Jr. It killed one nub. I expected it to kill 2 snakes. 2 worms, maybe, I guess, but it killed 1 little sphere. Either way, still in an okay position. I want Jar of Flies, but I also want... Oh, thank you. I also want the Spirit Heart from the shop. We should be able to get to our secret room. Yeah, we haven't been to our item room yet, so we got a lot of work cut out for us, and I'm not going to shy away from taking as long as needs to be taken on this floor. Another luck upgrade is actually pretty okay, I'd say, given how early we are in today's run. To have 1.7 luck this early on, just, it very, very slightly changes our priorities for deals with the devil. I'll tell you what, we're gonna go for rerolls. And that's tempting to get a kind of like weird explosion run, but I want to keep us over 5 cents. Over 15 is not gonna happen. The Ankh admittedly is tempting. I'm giving away all my money, but look at that epic fetus. So normally, I'll, you know, acquiesce. If I was a man of lesser commentational fortitude, I might suggest to you, oh, isn't this on the list in the collection page? I thought I hadn't picked this up, but I don't need an excuse to take Epic Fetus at this point in my life. We went through years, where we never picked up this item. And you know why? Made the run too easy. But you know what's unusual? Is to have a run in which you have 2.87 damage, 2.78 damage. It changes a man. When a man starts that run, he's older by the time he finishes than he was when he started. He's not the same person coming out on the other side that he was that went in. Now we actually do not need Dad's key at all. Because we can already, well, I mean, we need it to get Mega Satan, but we don't need it to get into any rooms apart from that. But still, we'll keep it for now. Who knows? Secret room access is still going to be nice. And we'll peep this real quick. Lord knows, I would love nothing more. Wow, I tried to keep you alive. And this is the thanks I get. You didn't even move out of the way, Demon Judgment. Something you're prone to do. Just kidding. Alright. We got here. Oh, Spoonbender. So apparently this is like a carbon copy of the items we had on the last run. All we're doing is changing whether or not we take them. Because on the last run, we definitely... Oh my god, Spoonbender does work, but it kind of sucks. Like, it guides my Epic Fetus shot, which I would really rather it didn't, honestly. Trust me when I say I can handle it myself. Usually you're just kind of painting the cursor over the enemy. Dude, it's so weird to think about the days, like, when Isaac first came out. People would actually... And this is because I had a problem with it. with using Epic Fetus. But this is just how far we've come, right? Like, people would send me tweets and comments and stuff like that, and they'd say, NL. If you really want to harness the power of Epic Fetus, use your mouse, dummy. They're not wrong, and they're being helpful. But it just seems so, like, unnecessary in today's era of, you know, Epic Fetus being so easily and obviously good. Can't imagine being in a situation where you're just like, I don't know how to use this incredible item. Anyway, like I said, this is a carbon copy of yesterday's run. The only difference is, like, the order we get the items in and the fact that we have Epic Fetus, apparently. Because, right off the bat, you know, we got Sackboy again. Homing Tears. Obviously, like, I'm being facetious, and many of the items are actually different, but, you know, you get the gist of it. You get the gist, the central conceit, gimmick of which I'm putting across conversationally right now. You understand. Just leave here. We could blow up every pot, but that's, honestly, like, that's for newbies. We don't need to blow up every pot. We just want to run with 2.78 damage. Who are we trying to impress? Ooh, okay, well, I don't like these guys, and we did get hit by our own bomb. That's actually a really nice wake-up call, because I was getting a little cocky, in case you couldn't tell by the dismissive tone of my voice. It's a great reminder that, well, I mean, okay, never mind. Now that we got Hierophant, we can't be killed. Just kidding, but either way, it's a great reminder that this run is actually not altogether safe. It's great, but it's not safe yet. Don't leave. Don't leave. Don't leave. Thank you. It's the last. He's gonna have trust issues for the rest of his life now. I tell him not to leave and I blow him up. What a jerk. So this is debatably the wrong way to do these. In fact, I think it might undebatably be the wrong order to pick those items up in, but again, it doesn't really matter. We do want to maximize Devil Deal chance. So just don't go to the curse room yet. Pick up the Spirit Heart, then you can justify going to the curse room, and that was a nice moment right there. Sackboy, I got to admit, I wish I worked at Nicholas. I don't really want to do a job with them 8 hours a day, but if you want to hire me on an incredibly, and I'm not saying you need to in order to make the game good, because it's already amazing. If you made the game good, it would be a downgrade, because it's already a masterpiece. Oh, Mr. Lion, flattery will get you everywhere. Okay, not amazing cards, but I mean, a lot of Dad's key options. We might as well use like one here, and then, yeah, okay, take Perthrow with you in here. But if they wanted to hire me as a consultant, and they'd be like, NL, please, what would you do to our game to make it better? And I want you to note that these are not going to result in more sales, because I have the kind of like criticism about Isaac that a person only has when they have 500 hours in the game and they can care about stupid garbage that is irrelevant for the vast majority of the population. But get those pills out of there. You know which pills I'm talking about. Retrovision. What of lore? And then, honestly, I'm not saying nerf Sackboy. I might take it a step further. Nerf Sacks. They're too good. I know you're gonna say, NL, please, what are you saying? Don't be ridiculous. They're too good. When you pick up one item, and all of a sudden, it's not an item that's even rare, let's be real. When you pick up one item, and then as a result of picking up that one item, it's justifiable to become so lazy you don't even pick up all the consumables that come out of that item. You know that the item's a little too good. It's so good it makes you care less about the situation. Now, you might be saying, NL, shut up. Shut your mouth. They might be listening. First off, I know they're not. They got better things to do. Secondarily, better things to do, like add a new booster pack into the game. Secondarily, wouldn't it be worth it? Wouldn't you take a Sackboy nerf in order to take out the pills in the game that presently mean nothing? I would take it. Maybe I'm a madman, but I'm not the only one. What is nice, actually, in this situation here, as we shift gears, is that you can, once you get the crosshair like close to an enemy, you can focus on other stuff. I don't think it's worth using Perth Throw here. I mean, it's obviously not worth using Perth Throw. We've managed to get our deal with the Devil Chance up to 50%, which I'm actually real pleased with. And that's why I'm taking my time and I'm doing some exploration, because, I mean, the run is already so great. We know that Boss Rush, you know, if we want it, we already got it. Only got 4 minutes to save the world. Only got 11 minutes to save the world. That's why we're taking our time to do our due diligence here. The other reason is because we found our boss room so quickly, I forgot about the fact that, oh right, go to an item room, because you have Perth Throw, and it's a good idea, and if you don't, there will be a riot. Dude, I get cheesed off, alright? I don't know if you follow the National Hockey League. This isn't about hockey, this is about civic relations. As a Vancouver Canucks fan, and we just took Judas' shadow there, which has implications for the rest of our run, but as a Vancouver Canucks fan, the number one thing that our team gets roasted the most, or a fan base, I should say, gets roasted the most over, is the fact that after the Canucks lost in the year 2011 in the Stanley Cup Finals to the Boston Bruins, we rioted in Vancouver. I already tried that there, that wasn't a good idea. Now I say we, but I want to point out, I'm taking the heat. I wasn't even there. I lived in South Korea. I didn't cheer for the Canucks at the time. I'd grown up in Ontario. And in Ontario, you cheer for the Leafs, you cheer for the Sens, you cheer for the Montreal Canadiens. I grew up in a Montreal Canadiens family. I cheer for the Montreal Canadiens. So when the Canucks rioted, I went, whoa, when the city rioted, I went, whoa, what's up with that? Here in 2018, the year of our Lord Rasmus Dahlin, I'm taking flack for a riot that I wasn't even involved in. There's got to be like a statute of limitations on razzing somebody about something like that. That's all I'm saying. It's an ignorant razz. And as someone who prides himself on some very learned razzes, it just makes me upset to see that level of shameful intellectual discourse. That's it. That's my 2 cents, okay? I got nothing else to say about it. I think it's also a little messed up to make fun of a city for going through a riot when it's not really a city. It's like, you know, 10,000 morons. And I'm sorry to tell you, maybe if you took offense to that and you're like, I was part of that riot, and you just called me a moron. Well, you rioted over sports. That's dumb. I love sports to like a shameful degree. The Canucks have lost 6 games in a row. I was at one of them, and I watched about half of each of them, and I continue to follow them, not because I expect them to win, but rather quite the opposite. I hope for them to lose so they can have a greater chance to get the #1 draft pick. If the Canucks lost Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals, am I going to riot? Absolutely not. I'm an adult. I have things to lose. I could go to real jail. I could have to pay my money to fix the things that I broke. There's consequences for my actions. I'm nearly 30 years old. I can't do it. It's just not the rioting sort, and the juice ain't worth the squeeze. If you riot over politics, I mean, it feels like, you know, if you support a protest, it's a protest. If you don't support it, it's a riot. Or maybe riots are exclusively violent. I don't know. I'm not trying to use any loaded language is what I'm trying to get at here. A political riot, there may well be some good cause for. But a riot over a sports team is just outrageous. Don't do that. If you live in a city that does that, be the change you want to see in the world. I'm looking at you, Philadelphia. And I'm not looking at you if you live in Philadelphia. It's the St. Patrick's Day thing all over again. Don't take offense if you live in Philadelphia and didn't riot when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Spoilers. Because it's not about you at that point. You're a good egg. And if your friends are like, hey, do you want to come to the riot? Don't just say no. Say, hey, don't riot, please. That's stupid. I think almost feel it's like a self-propagating tradition. I get it, you know, sports, alcohol. I guess I don't really get the part where it becomes destruction of property. But I don't know. I shouldn't talk too big here. Maybe if the Canucks, I mean, they're out of it for a long time here. Not a great looking NHL team right now. But the thing is, Everybody just now is noticing that we're bad. And if you're a real Canucks fan, you've known that we've been terrible since the 2015-2016 season. We're actually on the way up is what it looks like right now. So there could come a time in the future, you know, we're winning a couple playoff series. I'm not saying next year, but, you know, in a few years, win a couple playoff series. Look to me as, you know, realistically, 32, 33, 34-year-old, I will be the one at home not rioting. I will be saying, my sports team won. Good. I've been following them for long enough that I could be Jim Benning's long-lost son. I mean, what are you thinking with that Hunter Shinkarik move? Except it ended up being an incredible trade from the 200 IQ GM. Don't riot. Stop, okay? I went to, and now we're getting, I mean, everybody knows I'm preaching to the converted at this point. If you were the type to riot, you would be more likely to be doing something else than probably watching a YouTube video of me playing video games at this point, is my guess. Now, you are useless, I think. Not you watching this. That's an incredibly offensive statement. But I believe Incubus with Epic Fetus doesn't do anything. Could be wrong. Either way, we got a good item out of it. I went to a university in Canada. I don't know, because I'm a little ignorant to the other Canadian universities. I don't know if it's the most infamous Canadian university for quote-unquote riots, but it probably literally actually is. Nobody died, but it's a hard drinking school with a good academic reputation, and I mean, you can figure it out from there probably, but beyond that, 2015 homecoming flipped over a car, lit it on fire, leading to an advanced police presence for every homecoming from that point onwards. It was not me that flipped over the car, by the way. I was in 12th grade at home, minding my own friggin' business. I didn't even go to the school until the next year. Every year that I was at the school... Oh, you were just a tiny boy. I didn't even see you. The homecoming party had a reputation. It was like, there's gonna be a riot. And there was, depending on what you consider a riot to be. You know, there was one street that was super crowded, like outrageously crowded, shoulder to shoulder, enormous police presence, bunch of broken glass everywhere, people hurling bottles into the crowd, students getting arrested for any manner of usually public disorder, but you get the idea. And it sucked. And I went every year, and every year I went there and I went, huh, this is weird to be a part of, and it's uncomfortable because there's so many people here. And moreover, at some point, you think you're witnessing the riot, and then you realize, wait a minute, I am part of the riot now. I'm in the crowd that is shown on TV when they go, there's a riot experience on Aberdeen Street today. And 80% of the people are there to watch the riot, but you're all lumped in together when the news crews come in, you know? You're making everybody's life harder just by being there, trying to be a fly on the wall. Don't riot. Over, at least, you know, don't riot over minuscule things like sports or homecoming. Is just, it doesn't make any sense. Literally, it was like, the whole point of homecoming was like, I mean, there's a point beyond that. It's like, hey, the alumni are coming home. But then after that, it became, hey, 2 years ago, there was a riot at homecoming. Let's go to homecoming. There might be a riot this year. It was like a riot self-perpetuating for its own sake. Makes no dang sense. I know. I'm preaching to the converted. You're like, NL, we're not the rioting sort. And I'm like, I know. Probably. Maybe Rob. He's not watching this, though. I gotta think about this situation here. We're on Depths 1. Okay, I think... Hear me out. I think you dump Dad's key, you use Forget Me Now to get 2 boss rushes. And then we're definitely not going to be able to fight Mega Satan. But on the Zane tiers, using a Forget Me Now to get 2 boss rushes is higher than fighting Mega Satan once. That being said, that means we've got to get to 2 boss rushes, and that is, oh lord, so extremely far from a guarantee. Like, the actual, it's not really a problem, but the thing about Epic Fetus is that, like, it takes a second or two to come out every time you use it. So it's not necessarily the fastest way to kill things, even though it's one of the most reliable. Alright, let's see if we can make some progress here. We're really, and this is where you're going to be annoyed if you're like a completionist type in Isaac. We're going to try to go very, very fast. Superman goes fast, you go quickly. Still alive, huh? Like a Gladys song. You know what? I think I played myself there. More power to you. Ooh, a world card. I'm not going to use it yet because I have a good feeling that we're kind of going in the right direction. Gimme. Gimme. Don't gimme. And definitely do not use it under any circumstances. I know you're saying blow that thing up. No, I will not blow it up because you have to keep in mind trying to escape from this room, and sure we could just leave by blowing up the door, but where are you? Oh, thank God. Now we can see slightly better. Okay. What an incredible bounty we've been given. Thanks to Degas. Oh, look at me. I'm Degas. What is this special room? No longer are you as perturbed by the curse of darkness, huh? So even if we don't get... Oh, this is going to be slow as molasses. We're going to be lucky to hit boss rush once. Even if we don't get it twice, which we're not going to unless we hit Mama Mega, probably. Just wait it out. Nice. We're going to be able to use this to get an item room in a shop. We already had one shop, sure, but... Another potential deal with the devil chance as well, don't forget that. Which is good, because this one is apparently going to be a wash. Alright, we don't need it. Yeah, okay. What do you got for me? No. Yeah, no. None of them are very good. What a waste. Alright, immediately get out of here. The body's fine. Just not really a right call for us right now. Pop the world card. This is the wrong... you're gonna make it in 14 seconds? Let's be realistic. Just be thankful. It's not bad. You traded... there's a really easy way to think about it. You traded Dad's key for an extra shop, the body, which we could consider to be roughly equivalent to the average item room, and the Polaroid, so now we can pick up the negative. So it's kind of a wash in that department, admittedly. And our item room here sucks, but... Oh, you know what? I mean, it does suck, but we can still take it, of course. And take another item you don't understand now, Northern. Nah. I mean, we can fly, but it's like, at this point in our lives, it's like being a consultant. I don't need to take consumables that don't provide me a marked benefit. We could have used Black Rune to suck up the D7, but you know there's probably going to be a better option. Ooh. Sometimes you give a sacrifice to the key god, so I'm not bothered by that. It wasn't even really a sacrifice. Could, and this is again where you realize, like, on a run like this, you don't really need to jump through these sort of hoops. Love it. But we could use Alges to play the Blood Bank, which in all likelihood exists on the arcade, and then there's a chance to pull, you know, a speed upgrade, 0.33 repeating course out of that, and, you know, all sorts of potential usefulness that is not actually going to be all that relevant, all things considered. Allow me to, you know, have the luxury of playing a little fast and loose on this run when you consider what we dealt with a little while ago. We are probably going to get Guppy on this run. If you'll forgive me, I'm just going to leave. The room has a tendency to, like, self-replicate. Can I, like, what if I do this? I don't know what I was thinking would happen, but I was like, maybe I can reroll Mr. Meeseeks or something. Stop. This room was also annoying for us last time. I mean, again, in case you forgot, usually, and the God's room just proves it. Forget Me Now more or less produces a nearly exact duplicate of the room that came before it, or the floor that came before it, I should say. And due to the timing of Epic Fetus, it's becoming increasingly annoying trying to land these shots, but there you go. Oh, this is good. I would love, if you give me a guppy item, awesome. Alternatively, I wouldn't mind if you paid out with a with an active item that we could just reroll. And by reroll, I mean use Black Rune to suck up for statistical benefit. Okay. Well, you should definitely use this 4 times. See what our pills are. Love it. Exactly what I was looking for. Another orbital attack. Don't even try it, buddy. Buy the nail. Use it. Oh, the Leviathan. Thank you. Then, Black Rune. Not bad, honestly. And, you know, we might legitimately be able to make use of black powder, but it's unnecessary. Oh, dude, just to get a second crack at this room is like a really nice bonus, to be honest with you. And all things considered, on paper at the time, it may have been the wrong decision to give up Dad's key. How do we get invincible there? We don't have empty vessel, do we? Like, where did that invincibility come from? Genuinely confused. Anyway, hi, genuinely confused. I'm Dad. Okay, we're so far out of sync, it's embarrassing. That was better. We definitely, oh, it's a smart decision. Just hit yourself with one of those. We definitely made the right decision after looking at the byproducts of what we got. I would say, at least. It's painful. Hurts a great deal. Either way, it's tough to say we're unkillable, but we're almost certainly going to pull out the W here. You know what annoys me about rioting over sports? I'm going to be careful with the way I phrase this, because what I was going to say is that I kind of get it, but that's not true. I understand, like, right now... Oh, there is a secret room there. In my head, I'm like, it's going to be amazing if the Canucks ever win the Stanley Cup in my lifetime, which you might say is kind of like a very negative way to phrase that sentence until you remember they've been in the league for 48 years. They still haven't won it, you know? It's like, there's historical precedent for a team not winning a Stanley Cup in like 80 years. Absolutely true. Or a sports championship of any variety in 80 years. And they might only get one. You know? Unless you get lucky enough to have a dynasty of some variety. So, of course, if you follow sports, and the sports ball scored a wicket in the 9th end, I get it. You know? It's not an important thing to everybody, but if it's a hobby that you enjoy, it might be a literal once-in-a-lifetime event, but it ruins the rep of the city forever. I'm struggling with it, and I wasn't even here when it friggin' happened. Some kid in the Canucks jersey uses a hockey stick to break a window of a Telus store on Granville Street, and the whole fan base has a reputation for being unable to handle losing. Nah, it's just, I mean, I don't even know why it happened. I wasn't there. It's just a very selfish act, and you get caught up in the fervor of the mob mentality, I guess. It's a bummer, man. It's a relatively small problem in the whole scheme of things. I imagine, at least. I mean, there's not too many cities that have, like, a sports riot a year. I do remember, I went to Montreal I don't know, is Montreal. Not if you live in Anglophone Canada, but I disregard. In 2008, they were in the Stanley Cup, not the Stanley Cup Finals. God, no. Is this 1993? They were in the Stanley Cup playoffs, playing against, I want to say Philadelphia Flyers. It doesn't really matter. But I was there on a kind of like a pseudo-cheapo student vacation when I was in university in the summertime. My parents were like, be careful, because you're there over the course of 2 games that could be the final games played in the series, and they're at home. So if they win, they're going to riot, and if they lose, they're going to riot. And I was like, Mom and Dad, you have a very scared, middle-aged view of the world. How cynical of you to assume that this city of beautiful people is going to riot when their hockey team wins or loses. Have you no faith in other people? And then I was eating at a restaurant, and the police came and shut the street down, and I looked at my phone, and it was like 9 p.m., and I was like, oh, never mind, you're right. My mistake. You've been around the block a couple of times in this country, and you understand how it goes. All right, more power to you. Next time when you give me advice, I'll take it under advisement to a greater degree of legitimacy. Are we going to fight the Hush? Are we going to become Guppy? Not going to become Guppy. I don't really want to fight Hush, to be real with you, and that's the game's comeuppance. For me, having 2.78 damage. Yes, I'm going to lord that over you. For as long as is necessary. Secret room? Secret room. Thank you. Strength of conviction there. So legitimately, one thing we didn't talk about from the last run is that we did get Blinding Baby unlocked, which as far as I know, and we should be at full HP now, as far as I know, is the last actual achievement we needed to get 1,000,001%, which means that the last achievement in the game, I think, should be 1,000,001%. And for that, all we need is Unicorn Stump. There's a very realistic chance we're kind of on Unicorn Stump watch. Not necessarily on this run, although just as likely to be this run as any run, I guess. If you ignore the fact that we're, you know, so close to the end, we're only likely to get, you know, maybe 7 or 8 more chests total. That being said, when we get Unicorn Stump, it should be an indication that we've actually gotten yet another real Platinum God. Like, super, really real, no fingers crossed this time, Platinum God, which is really cool. You know, we started this as kind of like a way of freshening up Isaac, and I think it worked. And now we can go back to, you know, maybe for a little while running a streak, and who knows, maybe doing like a 3rd save file. It did take us like a year, but I like that, if I'm being real with you, because I look at it and I go, it's like, it just goes to show you, you know? What did we do in Isaac? Well, we put it in an hour a day, roughly, for 365 days. Let's say it's gonna be at about a year when we finish it. It'll probably be a little bit less. Yeah, it's a lot of time. But when you looked at it back in April of 2017, you probably said, my dude, you're not gonna finish until 2018, oh, definitely we're not gonna get it here. The unfathomable year of 2018. Well, it just goes to show you, you know? Year's a long time until it isn't. Think about all the things you could accomplish in a year if you put in an hour a day. You could get wicked jacked. You could build an extremely good baseline in just about any skill that I can think of, you know, short of, like, you know, medicine. You get the 365 hours of programming, you could make a ton of progress. I'm at 366 hours personally, so you couldn't match me, but, you know, motivation's a hard thing. This is not really a task, this is not really a hobby, you know, this is my job, so it's a lot easier for me to be motivated to do it, because part of the motivation is necessity. Well, not every YouTuber feels that way, apparently, but it's necessity for me. But still, it just goes to show you know, maybe this will help with your motivation if you think about, all right, I don't really want to, you know, tell you how large the backlog is, even though it's irrelevant. Okay, fine. March 19th, 2018. If you started something 41 days ago, based on the time that this video is probably going to go live. Ooh. Don't give me that. Doesn't matter. The backlog being large for Isaac is a good thing. Sure, for other games it does. It could be a bad thing. I'll give you that. But for Isaac, it's a good thing. Imagine what you could accomplish in a year. I want to see tweets on March 19th, 2019 that are like, hey, just so you know, I got inspired last year. And now, don't send me a picture of your abs, please. Like, if that's what you decide to go for, more power to you. But statistically speaking, and I include myself in this camp, like 90% of us, 99 maybe even, would wash out. But if I get 5 tweets this time next year, I'll be happy. People send me tweets sometimes, and I have to rebuke them because I'm a rational human being most of the time. Or rational, irrational, at least when I'm not rational. They say, hey, NL, just so you know, when you started talking about programming, I took an interest in it, and now check it out. Here's this dope app I made, or like, I just got my associates, or I'm like 3/4 of the way through my bachelor's or something like that, thanks to you. And I'm like, nah, man. Extremely thanks to you. I didn't do your homework for you. You did. You don't need that. Inspiration is cheap, man. Effort is expensive. So give yourself, thanks for the tweet. Feels good. I'd love to take credit for it, but give yourself a little pat on the back. Or a lot of pat on the back, you know? Whatever makes you feel good. And you can pat yourself anywhere on the body, just don't tell me about it later. Or show me your abs, as I've established. So take my cheap inspiration and then harness it for whatever desire you harbor. Anyway, that's me getting way too dramatic about the fact that we're about to hit a milestone that's easily achievable in an electronic digital video game. But that's okay, you know? I'm proud of this. We haven't quite hit 1,000,001%. We might even have like another couple of things to do that I'm not aware of. But we're closing in on it enough that I feel that being nostalgic or sentimental about it is not necessarily ridiculous. Not premature, let's say. I will admit as well, there was basically essentially never a doubt in my mind that we would hit this milestone, short of dying in a terrible incident or something like that. You know, I was pretty confident we were always going to come through with a 1,001% victory, but it does help to. It's rewarding, I should say, when you get closer to it. Excuse me. Don't make me fight Delirium. This is a perfect send-off for the right. Hey, thank you. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps it a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.